This is the Collector Car Podcast, the home for the auto enthusiast. Join Greg Stanley as he applies over 25 years of insights and analytical experience to the collector car market. He will interview the experts and throw in some fun stuff as well.
Hey, it's Greg Stanley. If you're listening to this podcast, you know I love everything automotive. This passion has expanded to include being a car specialist consultant for RM Sotheby's. So if you need assistance buying or consigning a collector car at any one of our online or live auctions, including Scottsdale, Amelia Island, or Monterey, you can reach one of our car specialists at rmsotheby's.com, or you can email me directly at gstanley@rmsotheby's.com. Hey, it's Greg Stanley with the Collector Car Podcast, continuing our coverage of the Las Vegas Concours d'Elegance at the Wynn Las Vegas. I am super thrilled to have this guest on board now because he's the whole reason I'm here. So Stuart Sobek, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you, Greg.
I appreciate it. This is a lot to talk about because you're the founder and chairman of the Las Vegas Concours d'Elegance, and you've mentioned it before, and I just want to call it out to the listeners. This is such an amazing event, and you put it together in 5 months. Tell us a little bit about how that all came together and how you were actually able to do it.
So we've done a couple shows before. We started in 2019. We got shut down, unfortunately, in 2020, like everybody else, because of COVID. We came back in 21, but then we got a call from the Wynn and said, we'd like to talk to you about an opportunity. And they called us in, and we talked about doing Concours d'Elegance on the grass and on the golf course at the Wynn Las Vegas. And I'm like, what a dream come true. I mean, it's amazing. And the marriage of Wynn, the hotel, and Concours d'Elegance is just unlike anything else. So we talked about how to do it. They said, we want to be one of the best shows in the world and help us do it, show us how to do it. And we teamed up, and that was just like May or June. So we really had a limited time to do it. I mean, normally we would have, enjoy a nice year or two to do that. But we said, let's do it. Let's see how much we can get done in 5 months. And the Wynn organization can do 5 years worth of work in 5 months.
Right.
They're amazing. Everybody here is amazing. So it was really incredible. It was a great collaboration. And as we started to get the information out to the general public, it just kind of took on a life of its own. We were hoping originally to have 50 or 100 cars. And I said, oh yeah, dream of my show is about 100 cars. That's all I can look at in one day. If you really walk around and look at a car, it takes me a long time, 15 minutes per car maybe. It takes me a long time. So I said 100 cars. Yesterday was 232 cars on the field, and we were getting people calling us with collections. I've got 10, 15 cars. Would you like us to bring them? And, it's a funny thing when you start turning away McLaren Speedtails or Enzos or Ford GTs and say,
you're in a good spot.
Sorry, we have too many. We love to talk about our first world problems.
Yeah.
But it just took on a life of its own. It was so crazy. But we were continuing to take cars almost till the end, but we had to make sure we could get them all on the field and get them all off afterwards because we only had 2 hours of daylight left after our show yesterday. But working with the Wynn is a dream collaboration. They can do things at better than anybody else in a much higher level. So it's like the dream to be here with Concours d'Elegance and Wynn. It is the most beautiful, perfect. It's a magic marriage. It's amazing.
Well, it's really amazing because and I know you do as well, go to a lot of Concours events, right? And
that's where we met.
That's right. That's right, at Cincinnati. So it's what makes this so special, and this is the first time it's been here. It's going to be, probably multiples better next year, which is hard to believe because the bar has been set so high in the first year. But some of the stuff that popped into my head that make it so different and so unique, first off, it's the Wynn. I mean, come on, that's your home base, right? I mean,
it's our permanent home base.
It's the permanent home base.
Yes.
That's insane to begin with. But then the way things were executed, so in my mind, I mean, everything was really cool. Like throughout the casino, you have these incredible cars that are kind of like the appetizer for the main event. I mean, we had an S.J. Duesenberg disappearing top. We had Carroll Shelby's first race car. We had
a birdcage.
A
McLaren Elva, a 1927 Duesenberg Model X.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got the Bugatti Type 57
cars.
I'm not even to the show yet, and I'm blown away. Right?
Yeah,
it's just that's just to start with. But then the golf course. The golf course is gorgeous. I mean, you don't want too many cars because you want quality of cars. You just don't want quantity. But I've never had so much space to walk around and not be shoulder to shoulder with other spectators at any show ever.
Right.
The weather's just perfect.
Perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
The wind can control the weather.
Yes.
I tell people that. The wind can do everything, and
Well,
they can control the weather.
Well, and then the other thing was the events. The food was unbelievable.
Yes.
So it's like, you know what? There's always some weak spot at some concours, whether it's amount of space, quality of cars, whatever. But you guys really just knocked it out of the park. I mean, Friday night we had the awards ceremony, and that was just great. I mean, you had the live band playing, a little jazz band playing. You had, like I said, food, but you had some great honorees, right?
We have amazing honorees. Yeah, we really pride ourselves in what we do and who we present that award to, and especially like bringing people forward, like Monica Zanetti, who people may not have known, but she's a really important person in the car world. The first woman to work for Ferrari on the assembly line, and to be hand selected by Il Commendatore himself.
Right.
Only 4 people to build the body of the F40.
Right.
It's amazing, and she was the only woman on that team, and she was doing that. It was 35 years ago. But what a great person to bring forward. We love to celebrate people that have earned that. Last year, Peter Brock is at a lifetime of achievement. But we also love bringing people forward like Monica Zanetti, just that people should know about.
Yeah.
That maybe they don't, which is exactly what Helene is. Nobody knew about Helene before we brought her forward, and we idolized her with our beautiful statuette. She's our logo, our trademark for our show. We dedicate our show to her, but we also pushed her, made people aware of her, and now she's in the Automotive Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and that award that was created to honor her was unbelievable. I mean, talk about Art Deco. Had the influences of the most exquisite hood ornaments in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Spirit of Ecstasy. Was that kind of some of the idea behind it? I mean,
Well, it depends on your perspective. So we wanted to do something really interesting. So when we designed that trophy, for example, we said, look, we've got to have a trophy that a guy with a $50 million car wants.
Right.
Like, what does a guy who has a $20 or $50 million car want? We wanted to give him a trophy that's appropriate. We weren't going to give him a little piece of glass, a little, something you buy at a trophy shop. We needed to make a trophy that represented us. It was really spectacular. But if it happens to look like a taillight, or if it happens to look, someone has said it looks like a high heel, but it's in her image. It's an image of her face that we took from photographs. We stylized it. We gave it an Art Deco look. But it can mean anything to anybody, whoever has it. And it's been so cute this weekend. Monica Zanetti, who got it, she's been carrying it around like a little baby all weekend. I said, I'm going to get you a blanket so you can cradle it and just carry it around like a baby. She won't put it down. It's adorable how proud she is to have that.
Well, it's so cool. Yeah, you mentioned a taillight because the base has this little red reflector kind of in it. And when I saw it, I thought that comes from one of the, Art Deco, 40s, 50s cars, from a tailback. Maybe, taillight.
It can be anything you want it to be.
I just
and
thought
everybody
it was
has a different finish about it. Yeah. Well, we had some great artists working on that. And it took a couple of years to develop that and then to find the people to make it. But it's an amazing trophy. We're very proud of it. And only the best of the best will ever get that trophy.
Yeah. Well, and we also have to talk about the Grand Marshal, Jay Leno?
Yeah,
kicking everything off?
Yeah, it was great.
I
don't
don't
to have Jay with us.
I don't know if you can get a bigger car guy than the Jay, right?
Yeah, Jay's. Everybody loves Jay Leno, and he was very gracious to come and be with us and open up our show and help us this weekend. And everybody loves Jay. Everybody wants to take their photo with Jay. Everyone wants an autograph, and he is so accommodating. He spends time with people, and he's just the greatest guy. And he's a car guy. He's one of us.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So it's funny. The first person I've ever had my photograph taken with from a celebrity perspective was this morning with Jay.
There you go.
I had to do it. I'm like, I'm not this guy, but I got to do it, And I did some little videos. You'll see them. I did some little videos of some of my favorite cars from the show field. Yeah. And I had to pick his Ford Bronco.
Of course.
Because it's such a one-of-one. It's got like the Shelby engine in it. Ford built it. He had it on the parade today. I mean, just such a cool, beautiful truck. So.
Yeah, and that's Jay.
Yeah.
That's definitive Jay Leno. Hey, let's take it out, put a different engine in it. Let's do some things, and just make it, nothing normal about it. Any of his vehicles, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy.
Right. Well, we had some incredible cars on the show field. Now,
We did.
I've covered quite a few, and I know, the press releases have all gone out about the best of show, best of class, and such. But what were some of the cars that were on your list? They didn't necessarily have to be the winners, but if they are, that's great. But are there some, cars that caught your eye that may not be on everyone's radar?
Well, the fun thing about being the chairman is you get to choose all the
That's
cars.
true.
Every car has to come through me. Well, our selection committee too, but I ultimately get to make the selections. And it was really fun this year because we had so many great cars to choose from.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So what was there? That beautiful 66 Ferrari Superfast, which is such a rare and amazing car. I mean, it's just a ferocious car. The beautiful Delahaye's here. I mean, the Mullen Museum had 2 Delahaye's on display. We had great Duesenbergs, and we had great classic cars. We had a field of 149 amazing classic cars that were judged. And then we had 90 of the greatest hypercars in the world on the other field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from the little car company who had their little baby Testarossa J to the Bugatti Divo, we had one-of-a-kind Koenigsegg's, all those beautiful cars, but like the Duesenberg, the 27 Duesenberg Model X, that's just a sexy car. And it's beautiful, and I think it's back in our showcase, our jewel case now. It's in the middle of the hallway between Dior and Chanel, and I think that's the greatest place for that car because it's a gem in itself.
Yeah, so for our listeners or viewers that are watching, I'm going to put up a video of me chasing that car through the casino when it was being moved because it's such a cool car.
They didn't recruit you to get in and push?
No, I would have pushed, but that was actually one of my top 10 favorite cars from the show.
Yeah,
and what was so cool is the way you guys laid it out, because that was like the prototype car. You had the boat tail, that eventually went into production, were the Auburn boat tail Speedster, which was ironically right there next to it. So you could kind of look at the two. Just brilliant and wonderful way to do that. So that was...
It's amazing. So that came from Indiana, from the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum, Auburn, Indiana. It was great to have them on board here with us. We have a lot of museums participating, but just great cars from the Peterson Museum, great cars from ACD, great cars from the National Automobile Museum in Reno, the Hare collection. We pride ourselves in bringing private collection cars, but also putting on a pop-up museum.
Right.
Great show cars that you'd have to go chase all over the country to see. They're all in our field in one day. But we had some just a variety from 1913. We had a 1913 Cadillac from San Diego, and all the way up to the latest greatest 2023. So we had a great display. When I go to a car show, I want to go and see all kinds of different things.
Right.
I love the classics. I love the Concours cars, but I also want to see what's new and fresh and the cool things and all the things that are out of reach for most of us. It's fun to look and dream and talk to the guys who own them. The beautiful Aston Martin 177.
Yes.
I mean, you just never see those. But even some of the other cars on our field, that you just never see. And even the beautiful Birdcage from Arizona that was on our show, just a great race car with a great history.
And that was reported to be the most original Maserati Birdcage in existence, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's being judged, but they're like, what do we do? It's got dents on it. It goes, it's a race car. The thing's been repainted. If it's not repainted 5 or 10 times a year, it's not doing its job.
Right.
So race cars have different histories than Concours cars, but it's fantastic. It's a beautiful, amazing car.
Yeah, there's some cars that caught me a little bit by surprise. I liked them. They're not necessarily what I love, but then I got into the details of them. I'm like, wow. And so I'll call out 2 of those cars. One of them is the Lamborghini Diablo, what sometimes referred to as the UPS Diablos, because the last 40, 20 were brown, 20 were gold. I was able to see 2 of the gold ones before, but I'd never seen one of the brown ones. And boy, what a brown one to have.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And the last one built, apparently.
The last one built was 6 miles on it.
Oh,
6 miles. Wow. I mean, I love the owner, and I love the owner's wife. They're great people, but I want to get in that thing and drive it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, what a time capsule that is. It's a time capsule car. It's exactly the way it came off the line. And of course it won its class.
Yeah.
It won its class.
The other time capsule, which really caught me by surprise, was that, thinking of the year 2000, the Mustang Cobra R.
Yeah.
And I'm a Mustang guy. I'm much more of the first-gen Mustang guy. But that one blew me away because, again, it only had like 36 miles on it from new, original owners and you could tell they had such a passion for that car. It was immaculate. They never took the stickers out of the window, so
No.
they bought that new one. They appreciated it, and they keep it that way. But I'm like you. I'm a driver. I would probably drive the wheels off of it. Not at this point, but
Yeah, but that car is amazing. That was actually the first car to enter our show, and a nice couple from Oregon. They're really enthusiasts, and I saw the car, and I'm like, 26 miles. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
But it is such a time capsule. Everything is with it, and they're so proud. And, we had to move with the car probably 4 miles. And I said, you're going to put 20% more miles on it just getting it on our field.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's just it's so cool. And they've kept it that way, and it's an amazing car. And they won their class also, so bravo.
Okay. That's nice.
It's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing.
So I'm about to have the whole crew of Vector experts pop up here shortly for
Yes.
another episode. And I know it's the 50th anniversary of the Vector. Tell us a little bit about how that came about.
So I've been a Vector fan actually since they came out. I watched them being introduced way back when. I remember the releases. Wow, it's an American supercar. How this guy's going to go head to head against Ferrari and Lambo. Those were all the cool cars at the time. Back then it was the Countach, Mura. I mean, we're talking about the 70s.
Yeah.
And I watched Jerry Weigert put the Vector out, and I saw the whole thing, him developing it. I saw it one time at Long Beach Grand Prix where he first had it, his little display. Talked to him. I thought, wow, that's great. A fighter jet for the street. I think
Right.
that's what he patterned the canopy after an F-16. It was really cool. And I've always admired it. And a friend who you're going to be talking to next has introduced me to a lot of the people who have them. And he suggested, hey, let's get a 50th anniversary. It's coming up. I know a lot of the collectors. Let's do that. I said, I've seen across the country at different Concours, one or two spotted here and there, but let's get a group of them together because they've really aged nicely through time. I think they're more beautiful than they were when they came out.
Yep.
Because maybe I was thinking more Lamborghini or Ferrari. We wanted to look more like that. And it didn't have that feel, but they've aged really gracefully. And they look great. And they have a number of them on our field. And there's only a handful made, and we had 5 of them on our field in different colors, including that big yellow one, which we call Big Bird.
Which is from Cincinnati. So I
Yeah,
actually saw that
yes.
car about 5 years ago. And so
Yeah.
there were, 14 of the Gen 2 and 22 of the Gen 1. So you're talking 36 cars, and you had,
We had
3 of
5.
them.
We had 3 of those.
3 of those, yeah.
And 2 of the W8s.
Yeah, so really, really great showing there. So,
was
we have to go here in a minute here, but I did want to ask you, tell us a little bit about next year. You don't have, I'm sure there's a lot of secret plans in place here, but what can you
Super
share?
secret.
Super secret. So what can you share about next year to kind of give our listeners a heads up?
What I tell people, the first year, I tell people this was the show that you didn't see coming. Nobody saw this coming. If they know the Wynn, they knew it was a high level, and they're thinking it's on the Wynn, it's at a golf course, it's going to be super cool.
Yeah.
But they had no idea. And when the guys came and drove over the hill and saw that for the first time, saw that beautiful fresh grass, saw all the beautiful trim and the level at which we were operating, everybody's mind was blown.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the effect I wanted. I wanted people to see this because even my team, as we walk on this every day, we're like, wow, people have no idea what's coming at them. It's so
Right.
beautiful. Everything here is so magnificent. The Wynn property is amazing inside and out, everywhere you look. And that's the way it was designed to be. But it's just fabulous property. So this was not what people expected. Now they expect this again, but we're going to take it to a whole nother level next year.
Yeah.
And next year we're moving to the week before Formula One. So our date next year will be 11/11, November 11th, Saturday also. And we'll have maybe an auction house in between. We'll do our show for a couple days, hopefully have an auction house, and then go into Formula One. So it's going to be 9 amazing days of events here based around the Wynn. We've got all kinds of great ideas for next year. Like you said, they're super secret, but expect an elevated show. We did this whole show in 5 months.
Right.
We've got 12 months now. So there's a lot of ideas floating around. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get on it right away. And we want to beat ourselves. And we want to take our own show to another level.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. Give us some time, and it will really perfect everything that we did and just make it better and better. And that's our goal, to be better every year, to provide an amazing experience that you can't get anywhere else at a 5-diamond resort, at one of the most beautiful properties. And everybody's saying, it's so nice to just walk downstairs and have everything here. We don't have to get in a taxi and go anywhere. We don't have to get in our car. It's beautiful.
Everything's here.
So we're all self-contained here. We're going to have some great, exciting events next year, and we're just going to build on what we've done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Expect Well, you don't know what to expect.
Expect the
It's going to
unexpected,
be
right?
better and better every year. They want to be one of the world's top shows, and they're gonna do it.
Yeah, it got off to
in our own organic way. We want to be the best thing in Las Vegas for sure.
well, and got off to such an incredible start. So
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad you could be here for it.
yeah, well,
We're really proud.
You're the reason I'm here. So thank you
you.
so much for that.
Thank
I do
you.
appreciate that. But thank you for being on the Collector Car Podcast.
That's a pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Collector Car Podcast. Don't forget to give us a nice rating on iTunes and be sure to follow us on Instagram and everywhere else at the Collector Car Podcast.